Is there anything more romantic than roses, especially red roses, around Valentine's Day? I think not. Rose is one of the most gorgeous, beautiful, romantic fragrance notes ever. And I love rose fragrances. I have a lot of really stunning rose fragrances. You want to know what they are? Stay tuned. Hi my lovely people, welcome back to another fabulous fragrance video. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by to check out my channel. I hope you subscribe and ring the notification bell so you can catch all the fabulous content that I create, whether it's fragrance, beauty, fashion, or lifestyle. And if you've been here for a while and you still haven't subscribed, please take a second to subscribe right now over there, that red button, you know the drill. And the notification bell is very important. Otherwise, it's like you never subscribed. Oh, also don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok where I post a lot of really cute, short, fun content for you. Anyway, I hope you had a wonderful Valentine's Day night. Let me know down in the comment section if you've already had your Valentine's Day night. But I know many of us will be celebrating Valentine's Day this weekend because, you know, it was on a Tuesday night. So happy Valentine's Day to you, whether you already celebrated it or you will be this weekend. In this video, I'm going to share with you some of the most beautiful, romantic, fabulous rose fragrances ever. And did you know rose is basically the cornerstone of perfumery, you guys? Rose note is very, very important in perfumery. At least 75% of all fragrances, you know, feminine ones especially, have the rose note, whether it's prominent or subtle. The rose note is incorporated a lot of the times because it's such a fantastic, romantic, beautiful note. It's a very, very important note. And rose always, always, always is a romantic, romantic fragrance note, which is why it's used a lot. And actually rose is featured in at least 10% of the men's fragrances too. It's predominantly a feminine fragrance note, but it is found in men's fragrances too. The rose is called the queen of flowers for a reason. Rose was associated with the Greek goddess Aphrodite and Roman goddess Venus. It's a beautiful, romantic, feminine note. So the most commonly used rose note in fragrances is Turkish rose, but damask rose, Bulgarian rose, rose centifolia. Those are, again, the commonly used rose varieties, note varieties in fragrances. Guys, I have 30 beautiful, gorgeous rose fragrances, some of which have really blown my mind. My top 2 fragrances in my collection of all time that I absolutely die-hard love, guess what's in them? Rose note. Rose is the dominant note in them, and I've come to realize that I absolutely adore rose fragrances. I love the rose note. Some of you tend to think that rose smell dated or mature, but it's not. It depends on how it's blended and which decade it was made in. Okay, if you were talking about a very old rose fragrance with vintage nuances, well, sure. I gotta tell you, there are some amazing contemporary, modern, gorgeous rose fragrances that I'm going to share with you in this video. So let's get right to it. Of course, I'm going to start with my top favorite 2. These 2 are in my 400 plus collection of fragrances. These are my top 2, so that tells you something. This first one that I'm about to show you is my die-hard love. I will never be without it. If I ever hear that Kilian's gonna discontinue this, I'm going to buy a case of it. I'm gonna buy a dozen. I'm gonna buy 2 dozen. I don't care. It'll always be in my life. I could be 95 and spraying this on, you guys. This is the most sexy, sultry vixen of a fragrance that I've ever smelled. This is of course Kilian's Rose Oud. You guys, this fragrance is the most stunning fragrance. I have never smelled anything like it in my entire life. I cannot believe people, all these so-called fragrance gurus, none of them are talking about it. Kilian doesn't really sponsor influencers, so that might be one of the reasons why you're not hearing about this fragrance, you guys. But you know that I always talk about things that I die hard love, whether I can make money, which is usually pennies anyway, or not. I don't care that Kilian is not sponsoring me. I don't care I'm not getting commission for this, but I am telling you, I've talked about this fragrance at least 24 times on my channel by now. This is so stunning, everybody. I know actually I shouldn't be talking about this fragrance. I don't know why I'm doing this. I actually don't. Again, I'm not sponsored, and I want this to be my and only my signature scent. If I ever were to have a signature scent, you guys, this would be it. Although this is a little bit too sexy for a signature scent to wear all the time. If I were to ever live with just one fragrance, this would be it. This has that rose, but it's not too rosy. This rose and oud together, you know, the oud note is very subtle. It's not too oudy. That rose and oud together is blended with the sexy sultry cypress oil note and that sexy luxurious leather. It's such a beautiful sexy blend, you guys. So sultry, so sexy. It's like the most unique rose fragrance I've ever smelled. The best one on the market. This gets so many compliments. You have no idea. Every time I wear this, I get at least like 2-3 compliments. I was just in New Orleans. I took this fragrance with me for a nighttime a dinner, a big fabulous dinner, and I was on my way there in a taxi in New Orleans, and this taxi cab driver was a lady, and she was like, "Oh my God, girl, what are you wearing?" And I said, "I am wearing Kilian Rose Oud." She's like, "What?" "Write it down for me." She gave me this pad of paper and a pen for me to write it down. So I wrote it down for her, and then I talked to her about how I'm an influencer. This is like my day job. I also do my YouTube channel. She's like, "I'm going to watch your channel." And she, I took my fragrance. I actually had it in my purse. I did a couple of spritz on her wrist. I kind of reached like out like that and sprayed, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be smelling like a beautiful queen," she said. And she said, "Oh my goodness, you smell absolutely stunning." I said, "Thank you." And she said, "Girl, you made my cab smell like $1,000. I said, "Yes, it is absolutely stunning." I have gotten so many compliments. That night I got 3 compliments, so right away. I cannot even count. Like one time a barista was wearing a mask and she could smell through it, and she complimented me on this fragrance. People absolutely adore this one. They think it's super sexy. Then I have this gorgeous beauty, Hibiscus Majad. You guys, this is by Maison Crivelli. This is that gorgeous hibiscus fragrance, but it's not hibiscus. Hibiscus is a fantasy note, that fantasy scent that they created by combining rose with spearmint. Oh my goodness, you guys. This is absolutely stunning, this fragrance. This is also blended well with that rose, the spearmint, but with leather and a huge dose of vanilla that made this smell like $1,000,000. This is another huge compliment getter. My second most used and most loved fragrance. I've only had both of these for very little time in my collection. You see the dent I put in both of them? They're down to here, you guys. I mean, these are going to be used very soon. I need to buy backups. Then I have another gorgeous one from Kilian. This is a gorgeous springtime fragrance. Predominantly, I would say this is a kiss from a rose. Every time I say this name, I hear that song from Seal. This is that beautiful springtime, like gorgeous green rose fragrance. There's something really green in the opening of this fragrance. And this is that rose jasmine together. It's beautiful with that slight hint of herbaliness from that cypress oil, and then there's that big dose of musk in here that makes it really fashionable and sexy. That cypress oil and musk together is so beautiful. It's light at the same time, sultry. It's fresh and green. It's all of it like together, man. You gosh, this is absolutely stunning. I love this. This is going to be one that I'm gonna be reaching for a lot in the springtime. Then I have this I just recently added to my collection by the House of Navitus. This is Idola. This is actually really impressive, very strong rose fragrance, very long lasting. By the way, did I tell you the first two especially I talked about, Rose Oud and Hibiscus Majad, 12-hour plus fragrances, last forever, project like crazy, amazing, but still not too beast mode in an offensive way, but rather very long lasting and projects so much. A Kiss from a Rose is very good too in terms of lasting power and projection. Not as much as the first two, but this one right here, Idola, this is another one that lasts forever, 12-hour fragrance. It projects. This has got that really strong rose scent from the French and I think Bulgarian rose in this fragrance, along with that juicy peach note, the jasmine, loads of beautiful like citruses in the opening and some earthiness in the base with loads of vanilla. This is a very strong rose fragrance. It kind of reminds me of Perfumes de Lena and the Carolina Herrera's A Very Good Girl, kind of like a combination of all those fragrances together, except this is even more unique. This is different from them also, but this does remind me of them, but this stands on its own. It's a very beautiful rose fragrance that is different from them, but this reminds me of them, but this is more intense in a way, rose fragrance. I really love this one, Idola. Speaking of which, I cannot talk about rose fragrances without talking about these three. These are, of course, the Parfums de Lena fragrances. All three of them I have. This one, obviously, is the Lena Original. This is that beautiful sort of sour green rhubarb note in the opening that cuts through the fragrance with that Turkish rose. You guys know this has that lychee. That's the signature, other signature note other than Turkish rose that's in Lena. I think lychee is in all of them. I think lychee and Turkish rose are in all three Lenas. This is that unique Lena that we all love and adore. There was nothing like this when this fragrance came out. This is kind of like a, you know, groundbreaking fragrance in a way. This is great for springtime. And then there's that, you know, exclusive version of Lena here, Lena exclusive. This one has a bit of a more powdery, more strong rose note in here with a more intense, like slightly more intense smokiness from the incense. Yeah, this one is more suited for this time of the year, which is like winter, cold time of the year. Absolutely gorgeous. There's a little bit of oud in here too. I love this one. And here's the summertime sister of the fragrance, Lena La Rose. This one is the more watery, fresh rose fragrance, but that doesn't mean it's weak. It just means it's softer, it's more airy, it's more, you know, just lighter. Yeah, this has, again, the same like signature Turkish rose that all three of them have, with like watery notes in this one. Absolutely stunning. I'm not gonna go too much into fragrance notes, you guys, because I have 30 fragrances to go through, so let me get through them faster. And then there is this fragrance right here. This is fairly new in my collection too. This is by Royal Crown. This is Rose Muscat. This one is a beautiful sort of melony, fruity, very delicious. It's just like something really delicious and melony about this fragrance. Like it's like a rose with the fruitiness, you know. Absolutely delicious. I think this is great for spring and summer. This has got that melon note with like loads of, you know, citruses like orange, grapefruit, that kind of light citrusy freshness in the opening. and that juicy melon that gives it a very almost like an aquatic ozonic feel in the opening in particular. Then there's that beautiful Moroccan rose, which kind of gives it like an oriental twist. There's, you know, lily of the valley, there's violet, there's I think like jasmine, loads of floral notes, and there's that ambergris in the base that makes it, adds to that aquatic freshness with that marine vibe that it has, you know, where ambergris comes from. I'm not gonna say it, I've said that a million times on my channel. It does have woody nuances too, and then this has beautiful woody notes, like, you know, there's sandalwood, there's a little bit of oud even in here, there's I think like ebony or something in here too, but it's absolutely very like fruity oriental rose fragrance, absolutely delicious, beautiful, you guys. I haven't had much of a chance to wear this more often because I bought this like towards like winter. I need to wear this more this spring and summer. I cannot wait to actually wear this more. And then I have this beauty from Royal Crown also, which I absolutely love. This is Alchemia by Royal Crown, you guys. This is that Taif Rose fragrance. I love Taif Rose. Taif Rose has like this particular sort of oriental vibe to it. It's like this particular rose, you know, that's absolutely like a different scent than the other roses. It's hard to describe. It has this sort of oriental feel to it. And then this has got like also Bulgarian rose. I think there's like carnation, lily, or white lily or something, loads of like jasmine, loads of notes. There's a little bit of even honey in it. There's a little bit of oud in it, adding to that oriental vibes, you know, so really complements the Taif rose in here, which is oriental, you know, kind of vibes. Sandalwood in the base. I think a little bit of ambergris, giving it that sort of marine woody base to it. Very oriental leaning fragrance, very kind of Middle Eastern vibes, but in a very kind of modern, contemporary way. Yeah, this is Royal Crown Alchemia. I think it's great for springtime in particular, but you can wear it, you know, all the seasons except fall, I would say. Absolutely beautiful. Ooh, I have the motherload of rose fragrances here for you guys. And then of course the very famous Very Good Girl by Carolina Herrera. This one is that, I'm gonna spray this one because this atomizer is funky. Yeah, this one has that, it's kind of, a lot of people compare this to Delina from Perfumes de Marly. I gotta say, it's not like it at all, you guys. This one is more of a fruity type of rose fragrance. You know, it's a fruity with a slight green nuance, but a fruity rose fragrance, okay? This also has that lychee note, you guys, just like the Delina. This is where people are getting that Delina vibes with the lychee and the Turkish rose that's in here. I think it's Turkish rose that's in here. If not, that's, you know, still rose and lychee combination. But I feel like there's a green hint in it in the opening that they haven't revealed. It may be like a green sour, almost like rhubarb. Maybe it is rhubarb. But there again, it's not exactly like Delina. Somehow this is different. The composition is different, when in a little bit more of the fruity direction than Delina and its sisters went. Yes, Delina has lychee, but it didn't go too fruity. But this one is more fruity than those, if that makes sense. This also has red currant in it, which probably adds to that fruitiness. There's loads of vanilla in the base and a little bit of like a hint of greenness. So Very Good Girl is kind of like Delina, but not exactly, because it's more fruity. Then we have this right here, my favorite fragrance line from Lancome. This is the Intense of La Nuit Tresor line. This one has a big rose note right in the opening. Yes, this has cherry too, but I think more than the cherry, they're kind of shoulder to shoulder, but I think the rose is more dominant than the cherry note in here. Although cherry is in the middle of this fragrance, it's a sour cherry note. This has got a bit of nuttiness from the almond, so it's a nutty rose that's kind of fruity. It's like a fruity and nutty rose, you know? Loads of vanilla. This is absolutely beautiful. This is like a perfect date night fragrance for like Valentine's Day. You know, if you're doing your date this coming up weekend, that's a good one. I forgot to mention that one in my Valentine's Day fragrance video, which I uploaded about like a week or more ago. Actually, I'll link it up here and down in the description box. This one is Initio Atomic Rose. This is a super potent, strong rose fragrance. This is kind of like, it's got Delina vibes too. It's got that sort of sour green vibe with this strong rose that kind of makes your mouth water from that sourness. This is like Delina, but only on steroids. Like, this is like, not exactly like Delina, but you know, it's got that Delina vibes, but if you can imagine Delina on steroids and with a little bit of a different composition, that's what this is. This is super strong. This one is another 12 plus fragrance on the skin and clothes. Lasts forever, projects like crazy. It's got Bulgarian and Turkish rose, so loads of rose actually. The pink pepper, there's a sourness from that, you know, like the citrus notes in the opening, but I feel like there's something more sour in here, and green in the opening. I think it's that Hidion in the opening that gives it that green nuance, because Hidion is a flower with green nuances, you know what I mean? Then there's loads of vanilla in the base. Here's a rose fragrance that has a dominant rose note, but it has a lot of kind of berry kind of notes. So it's a very kind of berry rose, if that makes sense. Berry fruity rose. This one is Gucci Guilty Absolute Perfume. This one has got that blackberry note right in the opening, which makes it really berry-like, you know, dark and juicy and berry. It's got pink pepper and some citrus, and then there's loads of Bulgarian rose, and there's a little bit of cypress, some woody notes. It's very woody actually. It's a very woody kind of berry rose fragrance. This has loads of amber and a little bit of patchouli. So you do smell the patchouli in here with that slight earthiness. It's kind of like this one right here. I'll talk about here in a minute. Chanel Paris in terms of the role patchouli plays in this one. It has that earthy, classy, earthy scent about it. If you don't love patchouli, then you won't love this, but this is a very beautiful fragrance, you guys. Give patchouli a chance. I'm telling you, patchouli is very important in perfumery. If you say no to patchouli, you're saying no to a lot of good fragrances. So since I talked about Paris already, I'll talk about it next. This one is a beautiful, this is by Chanel. This is very classy. This is a very classy rose patchouli fragrance. It's very much like a fresh rose in the garden. You can smell the earthiness with that rose. Absolutely classy. It's got that classic Chanel, you know, sophistication to it. This one is a compliment getter too, and people can smell this. It projects really well. I've gotten compliments on that fragrance. Then I have a few dark rose fragrances that I want to talk to you about. This one is of course Oud Satin Mood by Maison Francisca Jean. You guys know this is that mysterious, sultry, dark, sort of baddie, Black Widow kind of femme fatale type of fragrance. This has got that oud note that's super mysterious and dark with that rose note. The violet complements the rose with that beautiful, sophisticated powderiness. And there's loads of vanilla, which always complements rose note. I'm telling you, vanilla is a must when there's rose. Beautiful, sultry, dark kind of fragrance. And then this one by the same creator, same nose as this is by also Maison Francisca Jean. This is by Nina Ricci, La Stas Rose Absolue. This one is kind of like a little bit like Oud Satin Mood, except I don't think there's any oud in here, and the rose note in here is different. This has got that oriental Middle Eastern kind of vibe from that Taif rose, which has that oriental nuance like I told you. This one has like a little zing of black pepper in the opening with pink pepper, which is a bright, happy note. It gives you like this feelings of falling in love apparently. And there's woodiness in here from woody notes. Loads of vanilla in the base. I think benzoin too. A little hint of patchouli, and I think there's musk in here. This is not like Oud Satin Mood at all. A lot of people have asked me that question. It's got some of the notes like the rose and the vanilla combination, but it's a different rose. This one's Taif rose, and it's not oudi, but it has that Middle Eastern hint from the Taif rose. Again, it's a kind of a dark, sultry fragrance that's beautiful. And here's another one that's kind of like that. This one is by Kayali. This is the Kayali Elixir 11. This one is a very sweet rose with that red apple note. That red apple in the opening in this fragrance adds like this unique flavor to this, you know, like unique angle. It's that red apple. You can smell the red apple. It's got this sort of appley fruitiness about it. Then this has a couple of kind of rose notes, that big red apple note, which I think really make the smell unique, and it's kind of sweet. There's jasmine in here, slight hint of patchouli, but loads of amber in the base, and vanilla. This is again kind of in the same family as these, but they're not alike at all. This has got that, I think what made this unique is that beautiful red apple note. I really like this one. This one really pairs well with the Kayali vanilla fragrance. It's really good together. Then I have a couple of rose fragrances from Fragrance du Bois that I absolutely adore. The first one is Siberian Rose. You guys, this one is a very sultry, you know, very sexy rose fragrance. There's a leather note in here that makes it absolutely luxurious. There's a bit of juniper berry in the opening, like juniper, which makes it gives it that sort of coniferous vibes, like little piney vibes to it. There's pear for juiciness. There's pink pepper with that happy kind of brightness in the opening. There's spices like cinnamon. Loads of tuberose with that rose. The very, very prominent rose is blended with that tuberose and the ylang ylang. Beautiful floral notes, but the rose is very dominant, and that leather is very sexy and luxurious. Loads of amber, a little bit of, I think a mossy hint in the base with that sort of herbally sexiness, and a hint of earthiness from patchouli. You guys, this one is a very sexy, rosy leather fragrance. It leans nighttime, leans sexy, leans sultry. Very long-lasting fragrance that projects really well. Very much like a nighttime date, go out type of fragrance, very sultry. And then I have this one, which is on the lighter side. This is also by Fragrance du Bois. This is Oud Rose Intense. You guys know I've raved about this. This is not everybody's cup of tea. A lot of people are not expecting a rose fragrance to smell fresh and almost minty. You know, I don't know how else to say this. This one almost has this sort of spearminty vibe about it. I don't know, does it come from maybe something like cannabis? I mean, I wonder. There's something about it that's very unique and different. This has got some fruity notes. This has got that rose with a geranium. It may be the geranium that I'm smelling. There's something kind of like minty or cannabis-like, or maybe it's from the geranium, you guys. I don't know. Maybe the geranium note is very strong with the rose. The rose note is strong too, but there's something in there that I can't quite put my finger on. This has got loads of sandalwood, some fruitiness, and it's got that very clean, crisp, 100% organic oud that Fragrance du Bois is known for. Beautiful fragrance, very like classy and fresh and different and unique, you know, for springtime wear, I would say. Then I have this very feminine fragrance. I would say it's very feminine. This is all about that rose and musk in this. It's called Roses Musk by Montel. This also has jasmine, but mostly what you smell is that rose note with the musk. I'm gonna spray this one. It's not kind of, I can't smell it as well. Yes, this has got that beautiful Middle Eastern vibes about it. It smells like a Middle Eastern princess, honestly. That's what it smells like. Absolutely gorgeous. Loads of musk, which makes it really edgy and sexy. And then I have this one right here from one of my favorite lines from Dior. This is the Miss Dior line. This is Miss Dior Absolutely Blooming. This one is a very fruity rose fragrance. This has loads of like berry and juicy fruity notes like, you know, raspberry, blackcurrant, pomegranate, and all such sort of juicy notes, with pink pepper, which is that bright, happy note in the opening. This has May Rose, a very prominent May Rose note that's blended with Petalia, or is it Peony? I think it's Peony. Peony is that very pink, you know, feminine floral that mixed together. The peony and rose always make for a great combination. And loads of musk, you guys. Very feminine. It's a fruity, gorgeous rose fragrance. It's a fruity rose fragrance. Speaking of fruity rose fragrances, here's another one. This is Loubidou by Christian Louboutin. This is that beautiful rose fragrance, that very fruity rose fragrance with that juicy big strawberry note in the opening and other juicy fruity notes, you guys, and some woody notes in the base. Absolutely gorgeous, beautiful fragrance. Here's another one that people compare to Delina and Very Good Girl by Carolina Herrera. This one is Angel Nova. This has similar notes. I'm going to spray this again. This has a weird atomizer. Ah, yes, this has that same vibe like it is reminiscent of it. Same sort of vibes, because this has that lychee and rose. So there's rose in here. Very prominent rose note. This is the most prominent note in here, but there's that juicy lychee note, just like in Carolina Herrera, Very Good Girl, and Delina, which kind of gives it that sort of resemblance. But this has also raspberry, so it's like even juicier and more fruity. But this also has an oud note in the base, which is kind of like strong in here. But it's not the barnyard oud that you're thinking of. It's strong, but not barnyardy at all. Again, gives that sort of oriental vibes to it. Yeah, it's got vanilla and benzoin. So yeah, Angel Noah, beautiful. Then I have this one here. This is a super strong rose fragrance. This is Mancera Roses Greedy. This one is not for the faint of hearts. This one is very beast mode, like for real, and it can be offensive if you overspray it or wear it in warmer weather. It should only be worn in super cold weather, you guys, because it's absolutely beast mode. Yes, I mean, it can be in an offensive way, so you gotta be careful. It is beautiful, but it is one of those fragrances that can be cloying to some people, can be a little bit headache inducing if you overspray. But this is beautiful. This has got that gorgeous, like loads of, you know, juicy fruity notes like peach, the blackcurrant. You know, you would think it makes it lighter, but it doesn't. It's got some coconut too, I think, of all the things, and some pink pepper. This got loads of like floral notes. Among them, the most prominent one is the rose note. There's jasmine in here too. There's musk. There's literally sugar in this fragrance, you guys. This is a super sweet rose fragrance. There's sugar in here, okay? Tooth-achingly so, very sweet. This has got loads of vanilla, loads of amber, and benzoin, I think, too. But yeah, it's a very strong, sweet rose fragrance that should only be worn in the coldest of the months. This is one of those fragrances where, you know, you shower and you can still smell it on your skin, okay? It can be headache inducing if you wear it in the warmer months. It can be cloying if you wear it in the warmer months. It needs to only be worn in the coldest of the months, okay? This is Mancera Roses Greedy. So then we have this very herbally rose fragrance by Tom Ford, Rose Prick. This one is very much a rose fragrance. It's got like 3 different kinds of rose notes. I think Turkish rose, Bulgarian rose, and May rose. All sorts of rose notes. Very rosy fragrance, but it's got a little bit of an herbaliness to it. I believe there's like turmeric in here with a little hint of Szechuan or black pepper, if I remember correctly. Loads of tonka bean in the base with that deep vanilla scent. And there's the patchouli giving that earthiness. Again, you guys, don't be afraid of the patchouli. The earthiness that it gives this fragrance is what makes it what it is. It is a very beautiful, herbally, earthy, sultry rose fragrance. Absolutely gorgeous. Speaking of rose fragrances, there are musky rose fragrances by Narciso Rodriguez that I really can't miss. There's this one, Narciso Rouge. This one is very musky rose fragrance. It's really like rose and musk you smell the most. It's got a powderiness from that iris that's in there with the rose. Loads of musk, lots of tonka bean and vanilla in the base. Woody notes, very beautiful. If you love musk, you know, I love musk. I love Narciso Rodriguez musk fragrances. This is a really good one. Springtime fragrance. Here's another Narciso Rosy Musk. This one, this is Narciso Fleur Musk. This one is also a springtime rose fragrance. Again, what you smell the most is that rose and musk, but this has got fruity notes in it too. It's got a bit of a beautiful femininity, kind of feminine vibe from that peony that's in there with the rose. Pink pepper in the opening. Amber in the base. I think there's a little bit of violet too, adding a little bit of a powdery feminine touch to it. Beautiful fragrance. This one's great for springtime. Here's another one yet by Narciso Rodriguez. This one is Musk Noir Rose by Narciso Rodriguez. This is another beautiful light rose fragrance, light musky rose fragrance by the house. It's got a very juicy plum note in the opening, pink pepper, some citruses, loads of musk with that rose. I think there's a little bit of tuberose in here too, and lots of vanilla. This one feels lighter than the other two somehow. This one's a little bit more light in some ways. It's probably the juicy fruity notes in the opening. Again, springtime fragrance. Speaking of springtime fragrances, this is also great for summertime. This one is Penhaligon's Elizabethan Rose. This one is the most unique fragrance because it's very light and very almost watery, but still strong. It's got fragrance notes that you would never guess it has. Like, it's got nutty notes, tangerine, which I don't particularly smell. I smell citrus, but not like that syrupy kind of like more sweet tangerine note. I don't smell that really per se. I mean, it's supposed to have like hazelnut, almond and all that, but I don't get that nuttiness too strongly. But there are like loads of like, I think 3 different kinds of rose notes in here. There's I think rose oil too, but there's May rose and another kind of rose. The lightness comes from that very juicy blackcurrant note and the plum, because it gives it that sort of juiciness, so it makes it lighter. And I think that's what it is. That's why it's light. It's got some lily. It's got that geranium that really complements rose. Geranium and rose go really well together. This has got a powderiness from a little bit of violet, loads of musk, woody notes. Yeah, it's a very like light, ethereal, almost watery, sort of fresh rose fragrance. It's super light. But it's not light in the sense like it disappears lights, but it's light. It doesn't project, you know, really far or anything. It's a very light springtime fragrance. Then there's this one by Kayali. This is Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper. This one is a very like almost oody. I don't know if there's oud in here, but it definitely smells kind of oody, like very oriental. It's got Bulgarian and May rose. It's got a little pink pepper in the opening, which is what it's pink pepper, you know. It's got like that pink pepper for that sort of like feelings of romantic, feelings of falling in love. It apparently invokes in the brain. There's a little bit of saffron. I think there's like some lily, there's some magnolia, some vanilla orchid. There's all kinds of floral notes in here, but rose note is what's really, really dominant. There's something very warm, spicy about it. I think it's got some like cinnamon or some kind of like warm, spicy note. It's got sandalwood, very sensual base, some patchouli, some musk, some amber. This one, you guys, is a very very Middle Eastern sort of oriental kind of smelling fragrance. It's beautiful, but I gotta tell you, this is not something that I've noticed that men love very much. I mean, I love this fragrance, but for example, my husband really doesn't like the way this one smells. Something about it kind of throws him off, but it's a really beautiful fragrance. I like wearing it. It's just not one I wear on date night with my husband. Okay, you guys, that's all of the rose fragrances that I wanted to talk about. I have even more rose fragrances in my collection, but those are the ones that I picked. I have 30 plus fragrances here. Then I wanted to talk to you about what I pair them with. So I have 2 body washes here that are absolutely fantastic. This L'Occitane Rose body wash is amazing, especially with Kilian Rose Oud. Oh, so good. It's like a match made in heaven. It smells so sultry. That exact almost kind of scent as the Rose Oud of Kilian. Oh, so good. This one is Rose Jam by Lush. This is a bit of a jammy sweet rose, which goes really well with like my jammy rose scents. Actually, both of them go with any of my rose fragrances. Really amazing body washes. Good for your skin, good ingredients, good clean ingredients. And I love to layer with the L'Occitane Rose Body Lotion. I don't have one on hand right now. I ran out of the bottle I had and I ordered a new one. It still hasn't come yet, but I'll put a picture of it up here. Those are what I like to layer my rose scents with. So just wanted to do a comprehensive rose fragrances video that included a little bit above the rose note, all the beautiful rose fragrances, and what I layer them with. Let me know down in the comment section your favorite rose fragrances that I haven't covered in this video, or the ones that I did cover. Do you love them? Let me know your experience with them down in the comment section. Especially let me know about the compliment getters. I'm always interested in those. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Ring that notification bell, which is very important. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I will see you guys in my next video.